Everyone stared at me when airport security stopped me in front of hundreds of passengers. A rich businessman laughed and said he does not even look like he can afford a ticket. No one knew that within the next 10 minutes, the entire airport would be apologizing to me. My name is Ethan Carter. I am 58 years old. That morning, I was wearing simple clothes and carrying an old backpack because I had just returned from visiting a remote village where I secretly funded schools. When I reached the airport security checkpoint, an officer suddenly stopped me. He looked at my bag and said, "Step aside." People started staring at me. A businessman standing nearby smiled and whispered loudly. This old man probably tried to travel without paying. His family laughed. I stayed calm because I knew the truth would reveal itself soon. The security officer opened my backpack. Inside there were only old clothes, a notebook, and a few documents. The businessman laughed again and said, "This is exactly what I expected." More passengers began recording videos with their phones. One airport employee quietly asked me, "Sir, do you have anyone who can confirm your identity?" I smiled and said yes, but there is no need to call anyone yet. The officer found a small black card inside my notebook. He looked at it for a second, then his face suddenly changed. He checked it again and immediately stood up. Without saying a word, he picked up the phone and made an urgent call. Within moments, senior airport officials started walking quickly toward the security area. The businessman stopped laughing. Everyone became silent. No one understood what was happening. Within 2 minutes, the airport director arrived with several senior officers. The officer handed him the black card with shaking hands. The director looked at me, then smiled respectfully. He said, "Welcome back, Mr. Ethan Carter." Everyone around us became completely silent. The businessman looked confused. He asked, "Who is this man?" The director turned toward him and said, "This is the founder and majority owner of Sky Horizon Airlines." The passengers could not believe what they had just heard. The same people who had been laughing a few minutes earlier quickly lowered their heads. The businessman tried to apologize, but I calmly raised my hand and stopped him. I said respect should never depend on money, clothes, or status. The entire security area fell silent. But what happened next shocked everyone even more because I had one final decision to make that no one expected. The airport director asked if he should remove the businessman from the flight. Everyone waited for my answer. The businessman looked scared. His family stood silently with their heads down. I looked at them for a moment and said, "No, he will travel on the same flight. But before boarding, he must apologize to every airport employee he insulted today." The businessman had no choice. One by one, he apologized to the security officers, the cleaners, the baggage staff, and finally to me. I accepted his apology with a smile. Then I turned to the airport staff and said, "Never judge a person by their clothes or their bag. Judge them by their character." The staff clapped. The passengers also began applauding. But the biggest surprise was still waiting inside the airplane, where everyone would discover why I had come to the airport in the first place. As soon as I entered the airplane, everyone stood up to welcome me. The cabin crew greeted me with respect. The businessman could not believe what he was seeing. After everyone took their seats, I picked up the microphone. I smiled and said, "Today is a special day. 20 years ago, I started this airline with just one old airplane and a dream. Because of millions of loyal passengers, we have become one of the biggest airlines in the country. To celebrate this journey, every passenger on this flight will receive a free round-trip ticket." The entire cabin filled with cheers and applause. Many passengers smiled with happiness. The businessman slowly stood up and looked at me with tears in his eyes. He said, "Today I learned the biggest lesson of my life. I judged a good man without knowing his story. I am truly sorry." I smiled and shook his hand. But when the plane landed, another surprise was waiting that no one on board expected. After the plane landed, everyone followed me into the arrival hall. A stage had been prepared with cameras and reporters waiting. I stepped onto the stage and thanked every passenger for flying with us. Then I made one final announcement. Starting today, every child of an airport cleaner, security officer, baggage handler, and ground staff would be eligible for a full education scholarship funded by my foundation. The airport staff could not hold back their tears. Many hugged each other with joy. The businessman quietly walked up to me one last time. He said, I came to the airport thinking money made people important. Today you showed me that kindness, respect, and humility are worth far more. I smiled and replied, a person's clothes can hide their wealth, but their character always reveals who they truly are. The audience applauded. The story spread across social media and millions of people praised the message. The end. What would you do if you were in this situation? Comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional revenge stories.